All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on today's webinar. Welcome to Advising and Registration for Transfers, Summer 2024, presented to you today by CNSM Academic Advising Team. Sergio, next slide, please. So we're going to start with some introductions. My name is Dalia Valle. I'm one of the academic advisors here at CNSM. I advise pre-majors in biology and marine biology. And although my primary role is supporting first and second year students, transfer students have a special place in my heart as I was a transfer student myself. So welcome again to CNSM and to Long Beach. With that said, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Sergio.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sergio Temores. I'm the coordinator of peer learning for the College of Natural Science and Mathematics. I oversee tutoring and peer mentoring for the college, and you could find me in the Jensen SAS Center where we tutor chemistry, bio, math, and physics, or the Lindgren Math Center, where we teach all levels of math. I'll pass it over to Shannon.
Great, thank you, Sergio. Hi, my name is Shannon Durbin. I'm the coordinator for academic advising here at CNSM. You can see my list of advised groups there, so I won't rattle it all off. But like Dalia, I was a transfer student. I started a community college and then went on to do a 4-year and some other things too. So, you know, we're really looking forward to working with you guys and hopefully going over some material that'll be helpful for you today. Let me hand it over to Tanya.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Tanya. I am also one of the academic advisors in the CNSM Academic Advising Center, and the pre-majors that I work with are biochemistry and chemistry. And I will pass it back to Dalia.
Thank you, Tanya. Next slide, Sergio. Okay, great. Okay, so a few housekeeping rules for today's info session. Please note that your video and microphone will be disabled for today's presentation. I'm sure many of you have important questions to ask, so we do have a Q&A feature available. Those questions will be answered towards the end of today's webinar, and we will be prioritizing the questions related to the topics covered today. We are recording this info session, so if you want to revisit what we've covered today, it will be available a little later on our website for summer SOAR guidance for incoming transfer students. So please check that out. And then last but not least, very important, moving forward, regularly check your primary email address as the university and CNSM will be sending out emails to you, and that will be the primary mode of communication. So be on the lookout so you don't miss any important information. Next slide, please. Okay, so what are we going to be going over today? On today's agenda, we have your next steps for the summer, advising, SOAR orientation versus registration, how to best prepare yourself for your registration date and time, and again, the Q&A towards the end of today's presentation. Okay, so now let's take a brief overview of your next steps. So items to complete the summer. You'll want to begin with the online course module available to you on Canvas. Shannon will be going over this in a little bit more detail, but you'll want to start with your Canvas module titled SOAR Advising CNSM Transfer Fall 2024. That's available to you now, so go ahead and check that out. Your faculty advisor meeting and advising session will be held either via Zoom or email. They'll be contacting you through email, so that's why it's important to be checking your email. We have a SOAR orientation for you that will be held on campus, and your orientation date is linked to your registration window and time. So please know that you'll be getting some more information to you about that. So during your registration window, the academic advising team will be available to you to help you troubleshoot and give you some general guidance on registering for classes. And then the graduating assessment requirement, also called or referred to as GWAR. So that should be completed this summer or in the fall. If you have time this summer, I recommend checking that out or knocking that out so that you don't have to worry about that come fall, but just know that you will have to complete that summer or fall 2024. And then Shannon will go over this in some more detail.
Thank you so much, Dahlia. So let's look at academic advising a little bit. You know, the main thing for us is that we know you're making a transition from one place to the next, and we want you to you know, kind of be able to hit the ground running. And so one of the things that can be really helpful with that is spending some time with the Canvas module, which as Tanya's already thrown a couple of links in the chat for you guys. One of them is to sign into your single sign-on. So when you sign in there, you're going to see a bunch of what they call little chiclets. One of them will say Canvas. And when you click on Canvas, you'll see that you've been invited to the SOAR Advising CNSM Transfer Fall 2024 course. You want to go ahead and spend a little bit of time with that. I want to say, you know, it might take you 15, 20, 30 minutes at most. But what's really great about it is it's going to point up you know, key dates. It's going to have demos in terms of you getting registered and things like that. It's going to, you know, share really important policies and critical resources. We also have a portion there that addresses academic advisement, so you can get a better sense of, you know, the team that you have here to support you. And so, you know, make sure you spend some time on that Canvas module. So you can just kind of get a little bit more orientation around the resources that are available to you. And it answers a lot of like, you know, common questions that any new student would have. The other thing too is that, you know, some of you probably have already heard from your faculty advisor. And if you haven't, don't worry, you will very soon. Faculty advisors are assigned to incoming transfer students based on your major. And so be sure to check both your personal and your CSULB email, you know, kind of depending on which email is being activated on your account. A lot of our communication will be filtered that way. And so right now you might be getting a lot more information through your personal email, but very soon, and certainly in the fall, you're going to want to be on that CSULB email all the time, which is Outlook. And again, that one can also be accessed through after you sign into your single sign-on, you'll see a chiclet for Outlook, and there you can access your student emails. So make sure you're checking that. Your faculty, when they reach out to you, are going to give you you know, key information on how to set up an appointment with them. Those appointments will be virtual. For the most part, they'll be conducted through Zoom. In some cases, if necessary, through email or maybe email follow-up. What you can expect in that advisement appointment is, you know, first of all, getting introduced to your faculty, so you know who you can be reaching out to with your questions. The best way to be prepared for that meeting is to maybe have copies of unofficial transcripts, so that if you have any questions about, you know, coursework or maybe even coursework that you're wrapping up right now, that you can just make your faculty 100% aware of where you're at with things. Because what's really important to us, and what we know is a particular concern for transfer students, is we want to make sure that you're getting credit for the stuff that you've done. So if you've taken something and it is something that can be transferred over to CSU Long Beach, we want to make sure that it's being applied, and that based on what you've already done, that you're going into the correct classes this fall. So to whatever ends, you can be prepared for that meeting, so that you can be really explicit and show what you've done. It's always a good thing. Why not, you know? And of course, if you've got anything that you still need to be sending into CSULB so that everything's updated on your records, make sure you're doing that. We just want to make sure that everything that you've done, and already the hard work that you've put into your degree leading up to now, is represented, and you're hitting the ground running where you want to be running. More information, including contact information for your faculty advisors, can be found on our summer SOAR guidance for incoming transfer students. So there you'll see a tab that'll say, I think it says faculty advisor contact. When you click on that, you're going to see a list of faculty, their contact information, and the dates in which they're conducting virtual advisement for you guys. Next slide, please. All right, and just to make it real easy, we got a QR code there. So if you want to, we've also Tanya's putting these links in the chat too. So make sure you're clicking on those links, save them for later, even if you're not looking at them right now and you want to look at them later, click on them. You can also use that QR code too. So like I said, you'll be receiving a direct email from your faculty. So be checking all those different email addresses and have those transcripts. And then if you're ever kind of like, what was that one thing? Or, what are all the things I need to do before I start in fall, come back to our summer SOAR guidance. That one is great because it's also linked out to a bunch of other resources. So that can be pretty helpful for you. Next slide, please. All right, so, SOAR orientation versus registration. So by now, everyone here should have already signed up for SOAR. And so how it works is you have first, the sequence of events are you do advisement first. So you'll do that advisement process, starting this month going into July with your faculty advisor via Zoom, as we've described. Following that, there's 3 different dates you would have signed up for, either July 10th, July 19th, or July 24th. And so SOAR orientation is on campus, and it is separate from your registration. So during SOAR orientation, you're going to get a chance to learn about a lot of key resources on campus. You're going to get a chance to, take a tour, take a look around, and get a good feel for where you're going to be for the next couple of years. It's a really fun day. You get a chance to meet some of the classmates that you're going to have, and it's going to be a really good time. So that will be conducted in person on campus. Your registration, as you can see, is linked to whatever day that you signed up for. So for example, if you signed up for July 10th for your on-campus orientation, you will then be registering several days later, July 12th in the case of those folks that are coming for orientation on July 10th. So what you'll do is, registration will be online, meaning you don't have to come to campus, please don't. In fact, go ahead and do your registration from the privacy of your own home or wherever. It'll be online, and the next slide will be able to tell you a little bit more about that. All right, so the day of your registration. So in this scenario, you've already been advised and you've been given your course recommendations from your faculty advisor, and you've already attended on-campus in-person SOAR orientation. So now it's a couple of days later and you're ready, and you've got your course recommendations, you've got a pretty good sense of what's going on, and you want to go ahead and lock in those classes. So the day of, you'll be able to start registering at 9 a.m. And you can continue to register, after that as well. But 9 a.m. is when you can start adding those classes and making adjustments as you go along. You will be registering for courses that have been, advised to you by your faculty advisor. Those courses are really specific, right? They're based on what you've done and what the next thing is. In the sequence of courses that you need to take for your major requirements, and in some cases, some of the other college requirements that you have. So you want to follow those course recommendations very closely. And, as you go on, so after the fall, when we're going into the spring and in the semesters ahead, you'll be working with your faculty advisor and really scoping out each semester kind of what you're aiming for, being able to ask more and more questions around your career and academic interests. And, in the case of pretty much anyone here, I'm sure, you'll have some major courses that will be electives at some point along the line. And that's a great opportunity for you to talk to your faculty advisor about, like, hey, I'm really interested in doing this. I see that I can take this, that, or the other requirement to meet my major upper division elective requirements. Which one would be the one that would really align with my interests? So really think of your faculty advisor. These are experts. These are people that work in the field. These are people that have taught for many years, and they can give you really informed, information around what your goals are and how to make sure that your academics are reflecting those goals. Let's go back for just one more sec. Yeah, let's stay there for a sec. For staff advising, so on the day of your registration, we will be available to you via Zoom. So the Academic Advising Center, which, you know, primarily we work with students that are incoming first year students, but on those registration days, we will also have an online presence where we will be there to help with any sort of technical questions you might have. Keep in mind that we won't be advising because that advisement is happening with your faculty advisor. So, you know, we can be there to answer questions if you know, maybe you're like, oh, how do I add a class or swap a class or drop a class or, you know, other sort of technical things, or like, how do I find out more about a class? Or, you know, if there's certain things that you're unsure of in terms of the registration process, you can pop in for that Zoom registration support. And we will be reaching out with you in terms of how to access that support, you know, early next month. So, you know, again, keep watching those emails, and we'll also throw it up on the SOAR summer guidance for incoming transfer students website too. So you'll be able to find it there and in your email. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so just as a real quick review, you know, we wanted to keep this presentation short and to the point, make sure that you've got the most important information here. Before your registration day, here's the things that you want to do. You want to go ahead and go through that module on Canvas, which again, you can access through your single sign-on. And you want to make sure that you meet with your faculty advisor, you know, get those course recommendations, ask the questions that you have. And then of course, attend SOAR orientation on campus. So those are the key things to do. All right, and let's go to the last slide there. All right, so if you have questions, we invite you to put those questions into the Q&A. There, you know, we're happy to answer those, so please feel free to post those now. Right, I'm not seeing a ton of questions, which means maybe we did an okay job of going over this stuff. As Tanya noted, and she threw it into the chat, we have CNSM-advising@csulb.edu. That's the email that connects you with our advising office. And so, you know, if you you know, if you do have questions as you're going through things and you're not exactly sure what, you can always reach out to us via that email. You can also find our contact information on the summer SOAR guidance for incoming transfer students. And we're always happy to help you, you know, navigate your way to campus here. All right, so we'll just spend maybe let's see. Oh, okay, we've got some questions coming through here. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and answer the question about official transcripts live. And colleagues, please, if I'm missing anything, please let me know. And the question is, do we send official transcripts through Parchment for our spring 2024 grades? If so, when is the deadline? So off the top, I don't know what the deadline is, but yes, you do want to send your official transcripts. And, you know, we can see maybe if we can find a link to that. Let's see if we can find that for incoming. Let's see. Transfer credit for incoming students. Let's see if we can share this out with you guys. All right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the webinar chat the links so that you can see all of that key information. So that would be everything about, you know, how to send transfer credit over. There's a lot of details there. So better to look at the website and use the admissions information there. Let's see. All right. For GWAR. How do we register for GWAR? All right, so earlier on, I think we had shared a link to GWAR information, but let me go ahead and throw that back in the chat for you. So again, you can take a closer look at that. You know, we do want to definitely refer you guys to the appropriate websites to make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date and critical information. So you can see that GWAR assessment information in the chat. So let's see, how are we supposed to sign up for the writing placement GP or something? So GP, is the GWAR placement exam. So it's, you can find that in the most recent link in the chat. So you can see that information in great detail. Right. Cool, cool. All right, should I send my official transcript to CSULB even though I'm still taking spring 24 classes? If so, you know what? So I might invite one of my colleagues who's more informed about this to answer this question in the chat. I mean, my assumption would be that you could wait, but wait until your official grades are in, but Tanya's on it. She's going to go ahead and respond. All right, any more questions out there that we can maybe answer before we sign off here? All right, well, I invite my colleagues to come back on. You know, Dahlia, thank you so much for co-presenting with me today. Thank you all for showing up and being here. We really look forward to working with you guys. Congratulations on your admissions to CSULB, and thank you all.